Charlotte, Michael Carrick had a say or was involved in the decision making with regard to Harry Maguire and his new contract. So that might give us a clue about what Manchester United are thinking long term. With that in mind, surely he'd be in the conversations about what the summer recruitment is going to be like. And with regard to recruitment, it's been the age-old issue since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club that, aside of the managerial turnaround, the amount that they've spent on signings that simply haven't worked, have we started to see a change in that, particularly in the last summer, where by and large the signings that were made have worked? And how important is it going to be this summer that they don't get anything wrong, because they can't afford to, can they?
No, it's vital, and it'll be a massive summer for them. Obviously, they need to definitely strengthen in midfield. That's their priority of where they want to strengthen. And in terms of how involved Carrick's going to be in those discussions now, he's the manager. They've got a short list of players, but they've changed so much in the background in terms of the strategy, in terms of the technical director, the football director. Everything's changed there for a reason, and the idea is that that was set up and then the manager could come and go, not necessarily that they'd want that, but all that structure would stay the same. So a lot of the pressure is on those other people in the background as well to get that right. And you're right in terms of the hundreds of millions of pounds they spent trying to fix Manchester United's problems in front of goal from last season, and it's paid off, hasn't it? Because they've been a lot better. So now they're moving on to the next piece of what they believe is the jigsaw, is the midfield. But they do need to get the recruitment right, and the difficulty they've got is obviously they're in the market with Manchester City, say, for Elliot Anderson. So if you're Elliot Anderson, you want Champions League football, so securing something like that is going to be so much easier for them to sell the club. You still might want to go to Manchester City and work with Pep Guardiola, but all those conversations around selling a team are going to be so much easier if they do confirm Champions League football. But it's a massive summer for them, especially if, like Harry Maguire said in his interview that he did this week, that he believes they can challenge for the title again. But as Bruno Fernandes stopped short of saying what they need to be able to do that, and it seems to be quite a lot, even given their upturn in form. So yeah, going to be an interesting last few weeks of the season for him. I don't know if it was sort of like a power play from a young manager. He's come in and everyone seems to think he comes across as a really nice guy, doesn't he? And sometimes nice guys aren't the ones that win. So I don't know whether he's come into the dressing room because he's maybe not got the authority of a serial winner who's come in the dressing room. And so he's come in and he's using Enzo Fernandez as an example, saying, you cross a line that I don't like and there will be consequences. But Sam's right there in terms of you're doing it at a time when you desperately need to win, and one of your key players is sat out. Obviously they didn't need him, they didn't miss him against Port Vale, did they? And I think that was sort of the perfect antidote after the international break, wasn't it, in terms of a good easy win takes the heat off everything that's been going on behind the scenes. But now they've got this absolutely massive game against City today, and through their own doing they're missing one of their best players. So it'd be interesting, obviously, if they go on to lose, if we're all talking about the role that Enzo Fernandez could have played for them today. So, yeah, it could end up backfiring. A
mirror, because they focus, as many of the papers do this Sunday morning, on that defeat for Arsenal at the Emirates at home to Bournemouth. Miguel, you were there. How damaging was that defeat for Arsenal? And what was the most worrying aspect, do you think, if you're an Arsenal fan?
Well, I think there are many concerning elements. I mean, talk about the most damaging. I think the biggest there actually is that there have been a few occasions in 2026 when Arsenal have had the opportunity to press home an advantage and really put proper daylight as well as pressure on City to respond. They haven't taken them. They've been fortunate so far that City have had some surprising slips, and this was the latest of them. But I think this, for all the kind of talk about anxiety, the tension around the club, I think there were two specifically newly concerning aspects of this defeat. One was that Bournemouth basically followed Pep Guardiola's template from the Carabao Cup final, and they just did a tactical number on Arsenal. And this was with Raya in goal rather than Kepa, which had been seen as kind of key in that final. Now, not everyone's going to be able to press like Bournemouth, but clearly teams have spotted something in Arsenal, how they're locked into an approach that they can get at. And obviously this could be very influential ahead of next Sunday and this big showdown.
Arsenal don't win anything this year. I think that's kind of natural and understandable. It's so hard to say, isn't it? Because we just don't know. As Miguel says, there's so many scenarios, there's so many different ways this can go. I think a lot of people are kind of assuming that City are going to win that game. It's almost like people are factoring in those 3 points for City. But actually, I think before the Carabao Cup final, Arsenal were unbeaten in 6 games against City. So they're still in a pretty strong position going into that match. I don't know what's going to happen with Arteta. That maybe he'll decide he wants to go again. Maybe the decision will be with him. Maybe he'll decide he's had enough. He'd have no shortage of offers if he did. But I think it's just too early to say. And he made the point after the press conference that Arsenal would have taken this position in August. I think that's obviously true. They're still in a position of strength. They're having a bit of a wobble, but it's very much still in their hands.